Rising Tide, the expansion to Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth is finally out. Hello, my name is Maxon. During the course of this Let's Play, which I'm initially recording on the day of release, I'm going to be showing off as many new details and features that were added in the expansion as possible. Not all at once, but throughout the course of the Let's Play. So let's actually get a game started. So set up game. I'm also going to be giving you my thoughts on how much value for money the expansion is, and in general whether or not I think it's a good addition to the game or not and has improved things. So the setup here, difficulty I'm going to be playing on is Soyuz. I've actually been practicing a lot on Apollo. That's the difficulty I usually play on. I'll move up back to Apollo in future Let's Plays, but for this one I'll start out on Soyuz. Hopefully the AI has been improved in this expansion, I'll let you know. So the game pace is on standard, and planet size I'm going to stick to small. Small is actually a pretty big map still, so that's definitely big enough for a Let's Play, I believe, so I'm going to stick to that. So let's accept that. So sponsors, there's actually been 4 new sponsors added to the game, so there's now 12 to choose from. The 4 new sponsors are Alphalar, the North Sea Alliance, Chunsu, and last but probably not least, Integer. So they all do slightly different things. In fact, all of the sponsors, or nearly all of the sponsors, have had their ability slightly changed in one way or another. The sponsor that I'm going to be picking here for this game is going to be Alphalar. Now, this expansion actually really focuses on sea development. So there's actually a couple of sponsors which are able to actually settle within the sea straight away, those being North Sea Alliance and Chunsu. You can actually settle within the sea with any and all of these sponsors, and that's something I'm definitely going to be doing. The sea, new features in the sea are definitely a big feature of the expansion. But Alphalar, they get a bonus here to city development. So what that is basically you can swap production for either food, science, money or culture at an increased rate compared to normal factions or sponsors. So whether or not that's a good ability, we'll see, I guess, later on. So they are a Arabic sponsor from the Arab world region, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, United Arab Emirates. Not sure if Iran's included in that, but yeah, they're definitely Arabic in flavour. So let's move on. Choose colonists. So we've got to set up our sponsor here basically. Now, because of that development ability with Alphalar, they really benefit from having a lot of production, because you can effectively turn their production into many of the other, well, all 4 of those other resources within the game. Not at a 100% rate, but, well, it said 150%, but it's not quite how that works, but I'll show how it works a bit later on. So I'm going to pick engineers, since that will help us actually make use out of that ability, and yeah, there's certainly a nice bonus as well. I think the culture bonus has actually been reduced from the base game. It used to be +3. That would probably be my normal pick in most circumstances. So choosing of a spacecraft. So this is actually quite a hard decision in most games. There's some which I definitely like more than others though. Not a big fan of Fusion Reactor. I'm going to be playing on a very watery map, so Continental Surveyor would actually be a very good pick here, but I don't think I'm going to pick it. This is great if you want to settle very quickly, as you can see where the resources are. Nests, being able to see them, I'm not so sure that's massively useful. I'm going to pick Retrograde Thrusters, which is a usual pick I usually make here, so yeah, I think it's a pretty good pick in most circumstances. Now, with the cargo choice, usually I would pick either Laboratory or the Worker. I think they're usually the best picks. Now, because we've actually got a big bonus to production, having picked the Engineers, we can build a Worker pretty quickly. So I think I'm just going to start with the Pioneering Technology. We don't have a bonus to Science, so it would take longer for us to actually get that in the first place. So yeah, let's actually start the game with it. And the choice of planets, I'm actually going to use an advanced setup here. This is the advanced setup I'm going to be using. You can see here that I've added each and every one of the new sponsors that have been added into the game. The remaining 2 sponsors will be picked from one of the original 8 sponsors. I'm going to be playing on a Terran map, which is continental basically, with some small islands. I didn't want to pick a map that was too focused on an oceanic type map, all sea based. Even though this expansion very much focuses on the sea gameplay, I want to show off the hybrid units as well that have been added to the game, and 6 out of 9 of those are actually totally land based. So if I picked a totally watery map, then we wouldn't be able to see them in very good detail probably, or any other land unit for that matter. So yeah, I'm going to play a Terran map. The planet biome, there's actually been a couple of new biomes added within this expansion, those being Primordial and Frigid. So Frigid is an ancient world covered with icy glaciers and furtive but powerful life forms, and Primordial is a young world of rough volcanic terrain and vibrant but primitive life forms. So all of these biomes actually of course look different, and they all do different things slightly now as well. You can see here that it mentions about the alien life. I'm going to be playing on a Primordial biome here. So the alien life on this planet is savage and primitive. The hive mind is much more sensitive to aggression, both quicker to anger and more easily frightened. So I think that means they become more aggressive if you attack them, and they become more friendly if you don't attack them quicker, basically. So the other settings I've changed are world age, temperature and rainfall. I've set them all to random, so we get more of a well, random result. The sea level is high. I've changed that because, as I mentioned earlier on, the expansion very much focuses on sea-based gameplay. I raised that a bit. So I think that covers just about everything. I may actually add on quick combat or quick movement later on if it becomes a bit too slow, but I want to show off the animations within the game, at least for the early part of the Let's Play. Right, so I believe that covers just about everything, so let's get started. The Golden Shar is well known as the interstellar spacecraft of Ashia Kishk, but it is also home to a number of notable members of Al-Falah. Famous neurosurgeon Zaid Shakir revolutionized his practice through intrepid uses of zero-G assisted procedures. Research scientist Milad Al-Asadi invented various pharmaceuticals and vaccines based on exospheric life forms. The Golden Shar's renowned medical education system was only possible through the discipline and dedication of the people of Al-Falah. The fact that it mentions Shah maybe it kind of sounds a bit Persian, doesn't it? We've got a glimpse here of some of the new artwork that has been added to the game as well. It's quite a bit of it. So, how good is our starting location? So, you can see here with this sponsor we have to start on land, unlike Chensu or North Sea Alliance. There's a lot of new resources in the game out at sea. I'm not sure if there's been any new resources added on land. So where the hell am I going to settle here? Looks a very heavy frac site start, so that may be the direction I end up going in. Wow, there's like 26 frac sites, 10 xenomats, and I can't see any floatstone for purity whatsoever. So where the hell am I going to settle? This actually seems like a pretty bad start, to be honest. There aren't really many bonus resources that I can really settle next to. I don't want to settle, for example, there to get that, because I wouldn't be on the ocean. I don't think it's a great place to settle. I think where I'm going to settle is by there. That will eventually grab all of these land resources here. I will be in range of those two as well. I may stick a land-based city here, and I could maybe put an ocean city there, and an ocean city there, and maybe an ocean city there to grab those two resources. Something along those lines. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to start, and there's no bonus resource next to it. So yeah, this is a really crappy start here, but it's not really a good place. I can stick it anywhere here that is a good start in my opinion. Yeah, so let's go by here. Okay, so this could be a tough game. possibly. It is on Soyuz though, so I think I can win Soyuz. Unless the AI's been incredibly increased. A lot better than it used to be. Right, so there's actually a couple of aliens nearby, which isn't going to help either. Now you can see here there's actually an alien nest on this Fraxite site. That didn't used to be possible. In fact, there's 2 alien nests here. Alien nests only used to show up on Xenomass, but now it can form on any of the affinity resources, Fraxite, Floatstone, Xenomass. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem, potentially. There's a pod there, which I'm going to want to collect later on. Pods can now be at sea as well. Pretty much everything can be at sea now. They've added tons of new resources. You can colonize at sea. There's tons of expedition sites at sea and all new different types of expedition sites as well. Victory types, if we check these out, the victory types haven't changed basically at all, surprisingly. Although I believe you need a higher level of affinity than you used to actually complete these 15 instead of 13, I believe, for the affinity-based ones. It's kind of a shame they didn't add a mixed hybrid affinity victory type, arguably, but oh well. So what have I got to do? I've got an explorer I need to use. I probably should figure out what I'm doing in this city then straight away. So let's take a look in art here, and I should show off their special ability that has been added, well, with this faction. So basically with their developments they get a much larger percentage towards switching their production than the other factions do. The other factions get 25%, I believe it is. You can see here there's 37.5%. Now this has actually been nerfed since the early preview builds. It was probably too powerful. It was like 60% before. You can actually increase this though. There are ways to do that. If I show you this screen here, the diplomacy overview. Now diplomacy is actually being completely changed within this expansion. It's one of the features I'm most looking forward to. So if we go into manage personality traits, all of this section is new. You can see here that later on we can use this new resource, so to speak, diplomatic capital, and you can actually use this to increase your perks. And there's other options as well. There's a unique character perk for each and every faction basically, and this is our Alphalar perk. There's agreements later on. You can basically swap these with other factions if you have enough diplomatic capital to afford them. That's going to be probably mid-game before we're able to make much use out of those. If I look into the affinity screen as well, this is the new hybrid affinity screen. So basically, if you get hybrid affinities, it basically unlocks special hybrid affinity units, which I'll show later on. That's the harmony affinity, supremacy and purity one. I don't think there's official names for these hybrid affinities though, the mixture between the other 3 affinities. So that one is harmony and supremacy, so maybe harmonancy, perhaps we could call it. That one is harmony, a mixture between harmony and purity, and that one is supremacy and purity, so supremacy maybe, who knows, come up with some weird names for that. So all of these basically give extra bonuses. It actually tends to be that you tend to be much more rainbow focused than you used to with your affinity, and there's reasons why that's the case, and if I dip into the tech tree we'll be able to get an idea why. So basically the first thing that may hit you when you actually enter this screen now is it's a lot more colourful. All of the icons have one colour or another. So you can see here that the resource icon is orange, buildings are light blue, these bonus type ones are magenta-ish, I think that's the colour. And what else is there? The game winning games are the green over here, yellow for wonders. So yeah, that's definitely very helpful. Now the big change, as I was starting to mention then with the affinities, you actually get big clumps of affinity for leaf text and for some of the branch text now. The branch text didn't used to give affinity points whatsoever, but you can see here with physics we actually get some affinity points for purity. This one here, bionics, gets affinity points for harmony and purity. It seems to be that all of the branch techs actually give you +7 towards affinity. Most of them actually do give you affinity points. Some 1 towards 1 affinity, some towards 2. There's the odd tech branch that doesn't give you any points whatsoever. The leaf techs below the branch techs give you much more affinity. They seem to be +20 in every different circumstance. I'm not sure if there's any leaf techs that actually give you more than 1 affinity. They all seem to be just towards 1, and like some of these branch techs where there's at least a couple in some circumstances. So what tech am I going to be picking first anyway? That's a good question. So we got Pioneering for free. Habitation's slightly different now. We actually get gunboats and patrol boats. Patrol boats is a new unit, as a melee type ship. The gunboat you used to get on computing, so that's going to help with exploration early on in the sea. So that's probably why they've moved that. I think I'm going to go for engineering first of all. I want to find out where the titanium is as quickly as possible, and try and secure a source of it. It's a great amount of production. So with ours, the production I'm going to do here is actually going to be making use out of the development ability, swapping production for food. So that will now grow in 4 turns, and I could do with an extra population point since we don't have much in the way of bonus resources here. Yeah, so I think that's the direction I'm going to go in early on. This explorer unit, now there was pods here, wasn't there? How many? Right, there's a pod over there, there's a pod over there. Probably want to grab these as quickly as possible. That one's going to be pretty hard to grab, but I want to grab that one. And you can actually move out to sea straight away now with units. That didn't used to be the case. You used to have to research this tech here. But yeah, as I've mentioned probably numerous times by now, there's much more of a focus on the sea within this expansion. Okay, so let's end the first turn. So there's a bug there which I probably need to watch out for. Let's go out to sea. I think the aliens at sea are much less, or much more passive than they used to be, I should say. Before you used to go out to sea and you get attacked straight away. The aliens on land are still relatively passive as long as you don't move within their nest sites. Now, I'm not going to attack these straight away because I don't really have a unit here to kill or take the nest, so I don't think it's a good idea. Okay, let's end turn. Okay, they've moved away from the nest, but I can't take advantage of that because I don't have a unit over there, sadly. So let's... I may actually have to build a soldier unit really quickly here. Oh, right, where's that pod to? It's down here. Don't want to move within 2 of that nest, actually, just in case there's a sea unit there. If you move within 2 of a nest, that tends to be when they go for you. So let's end a turn. You can actually get nests at sea now. We haven't seen one yet, but I'm sure we will later on. Ooh, what the hell is that? So this is new. Hydrocoral brain. I'm gonna have to check that out in a minute. Resource pod searched. We get bonus research here, and we got a nice new bit of artwork there. I'm not going to read all of these because it would just take too long, but if you want to pause and check any of them out in more detail, please do so. Right, so let's right, we found that. So we have a quest result, gifts from home. So we basically have to find some more pods. So there's a satellite there as well, so there's a lot of stuff over here. Right, so in the 1 turn we actually grow. Should I change? I think I want another explorer here actually. Yeah, I should change because yeah, that'll do it. Finish it. If that was correct, which I hope it was. Let's end the turn. Okay, so 23. I probably want to get a worker out here pretty quickly to actually get, I don't know, well, anything out of the city is a terrible sight. Really is. If I can get some money I can buy off over to that fruit, that would increase cleanse. That's crap. I picked random terrain as well, so if I got unlucky with that and have a lot of really deserty land or tundra land, that's not going to help me. Let's move on to this and check this out. What's going on here then? Right, hopefully these are passive, but not sure if that's the case. Can we actually do anything with that? You know what? It doesn't look like we can, does it? Right, I'm going to take a risk here and try and nab that satellite. You can do something with these later on, I believe, but I think you might need a quest first. Don't actually know, because I haven't played an awful lot of the expansion yet. Probably about 10 turns. Right, let's end a turn. Okay. One problem I've noticed with these developments is that you can't actually stick them in the list. If you click on this, then it basically replaces it. I think the thing in the list here. I'm a bit wary of clicking on it here in case that goes, to be honest. Let's do it. Well, so it puts it on the bottom actually. So maybe you can put it in the list, but you can't move it up in the list. That's the problem with it, which maybe Firaxis needs to change. So what is this? This is build a colonist. It's telling us to do so. Right, they have an attack, luckily for us. Yeah, I don't think I can interact with that for some reason. I'm not sure why. Let's get that crashed satellite. Okay, probably arguably should be doing more exploring than picking up those at the moment, but yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. Exploration is so important within well, Beyond Earth and Rising Tide. You need to find those pods, you need to find out places for future city sites. So yeah, very, very important. You get good explorers out early on. I may want to get a patrol boat out as well. Let's look in the oceans. Definitely going to be found in ocean cities to show off that feature, so not sure when yet though. Right, we're done in a couple of turns there. Still not attacking the aliens. It's really not a good idea to attack the aliens if you don't have enough to make sure you don't get in trouble with it, basically. I don't have any units, so it wouldn't be a great idea doing that. They're quicker to anger on this map as well, I believe, aren't they? So, yeah. Right, I can't really go over there, so let's... it's a big canyon and mountain range in the middle of this continent, which isn't going to help me explore, arguably. There's yet another nest over here, isn't there? I'm trying to figure out what... I probably know what virtues I'm going for, but I'm kind of think I'll mention more about it later. So what the hell am I going for here? Now we could go for more agriculture development. Oh, it's 4 turns. That's really good. Really good. I think I need to do it as well because my capital's just shit. So I'm gonna do that. Let's do that. No idea what that is. Expedition completed. Your expedition. Oh, 80 production. Very nice. Did that just go into that? Let's. Hopefully that wasn't wasted, that production, but it might have been. Change production. You know what? I think that was wasted. That's not good. Firaxis needs to do something about that as well, because it didn't seem to give me anything here. That really sucks. I really don't want to have to change my capital's production around every time we get an expedition site, which is what you seem to have to do now to avoid that situation. Let's come down here then. Right, so we've got that. We've actually run out of modules, so I'm going to have to go back to there. Can I do anything with that? Oh, I want to check this out again, so let's move on there. Maybe you have to use a military unit and Explorer doesn't count as a military unit, I'm not quite sure. There's a nest nearby which I'm going to have to avoid. Come through the sea. Yeah, that says 80 production, I haven't got it. Buildings would have done a lot quicker if it had counted. Okay. And we've got an arrival of a new sponsor. So one thing that you may notice here if you're used to the game we weren't contacted by the sponsor that arrived here. That used to be the case, and now it's no longer. They've landed on Plains and a Hill, which means they're not one of the sea-based sponsors, Chunsu or the North Sea Alliance. So, something we can figure out from that. Let's move down there. We found another pod. Let's come round over here. Let's get back an expedition module. Right, we found a pod. And at this point, I've probably been playing for nearly half an hour, or talking for nearly half an hour. So I'm going to call that the end of this first video. So I'd like to thank you for watching this first video, and I hope you check out the future ones as well. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be showing off and going into detail about as many of the new features as possible that have been added in this expansion, and giving you my thoughts about the game in general. So there's a few things I should mention as well before I actually end this first video. So the base game for Beyond Earth I thought was a bit disappointing, if I'm honest. I'm really hopeful for this expansion though. Firaxis is getting a reputation for making pretty average base games but then making pretty amazing expansions, so that may be the case here. Whether or not it's value for money, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I'm going to say much more about my thoughts about the expansion as I actually play this first game and throughout the course of the Let's Play. I need to actually say thank you to someone as well during the course of this video. That is someone who goes by the alias sometimes of Pocket Speaking. This Let's Play would not be happening without Pocket Speaking, so I really owe them a huge amount of thanks, so thank you to you. Also, if you're new to the channel, you may want to consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video or content like it. There's tons of strategy games, 4X games, guide videos, a huge amount of content that you may be interested in, so please check out the homepage as well if you're thinking about subscribing. If you enjoy any of my videos, please help me out by giving the videos a like. That massively helps out channels, as it helps people basically find videos in the first place. It helps you raise your videos up in the search rankings. And also, if you have any comments or questions about this video or any video, please let me know by using the comment section. If you're someone who really wants to help out a channel like mine, and you want this channel to continue to make content like this for the coming years, you may want to check out my Patreon page. You can find a link to that in the homepage and also on the comments as well. Right, I believe I've covered just about everything. I'm going to get through a lot more turns in the next video. A lot of this first video was talking about features and that, but yeah, I've still got a lot to mention about all the new features that have been added. So thank you for watching again, and I'll see you next time.